I'm Ishbel Matheson, and I'm going to be chairing the event tonight. I'm the Director of Communications here, and it's really great to welcome such a great panel here today to discuss this great report that's been produced by BBC Media Action, which is Making Waves, Media's Potential for Girls in the Global South. And when I was thinking about this event tonight, I was thinking a little bit about, you know, as a former journalist, how we used to see, you know, the noble side of the media, the power to change things, the power to inspire. And I was reflecting, we are seeing some of that now, and more increasingly, you know, through the inspirational characters that are being featured in the media now. Thinking now of Malala, of course, the winner of the Nobel Prize for her great campaigning work on education, but also her huge personal bravery. But also thinking about this idea that media exposes injustice. And I do think we are seeing now coverage coming through, more coverage of the terrible abuses facing girls in many parts of the world, including in the developing world. And I'm thinking here of the coverage of rape cases in India, or the early marriage cases that we've seen in Afghanistan. So I do think we are seeing positive changes in the ways the media reports some of the issues around adolescent girls. But on the other hand, we also know that the media can also have the power to reinforce stereotypes. So it can also reinforce the idea that girls are not in control of their destinies, they're menial. They play a menial role in many households rather than occupying professional roles. There aren't so many women in the media, and maybe that's something that Caroline will pick up in her discussion of the report. So I think we know that there's two sides to the media. But one thing we also don't know so much about, and that's what's interesting about this paper, and I hope you've had a chance to read it, is, and Caroline makes this point really well, is that we don't really know very much about how media can influence the debate around girls in the Global South, because not very much research or work has been done on it. And what I think is great about this panel is we can gather together some ideas on this very kind of new area, and maybe get a few pointers for good ways to proceed and how we can harness the power of media to help girls. Because one thing that we do know, and one thing that you highlight again in your report, is that the development community is increasingly interested in adolescent girls. It's firmly back on the agenda. We had the Girls' Summit here in London earlier this year, and before that we had the FGM Summit. So these are issues that are firmly on the agenda of politicians and of the development community. So I think our panel tonight will talk a little bit about, you know, how potentially the media could be harnessed to help push forward that agenda. Just to quickly introduce the panel, we have, just sitting there, Sharon Goulds from Plan UK, Head of Communications, former documentary...
No, not Head of Communications.
Sorry?
No, I'm the editor of the Girls' Report. I used to do the communications job, so I don't do it anymore.
Okay, right.
My colleagues will shoot me.
She's the editor of the Girl Report, which makes her primely fitted to talk to this issue. And also, you were a documentary maker at one point in your in your life as well. So I got that, really can see it from both sides. Caroline Sykes from BBC Media Action. I hope I've got it right. It says on the front of the report, you are the author of this report. I got that one right, so that's good. I'm doing pretty well. Caroline Harper and Rachel Marquez here are colleagues of mine at the Overseas Development Institute, and they do a lot of work in this field looking at adolescent girls, and they've done some research on media and adolescent girls, and they'll be talking briefly about what their research has thrown up on this. And at the very end there, we're very grateful because she's battled off some horrendous illness that has laid lots of other people low. But it's Eliza Anyangwe, and Eliza has been working with the Guardian Professionals Network, and one of the projects that they've been working on in the last year is actually about adolescent girls, so she'll be talking a little bit about that. But let me hand over to Sharon first of all, and she can talk about Girls' Voices and that report that you mentioned.